bunch of illegals, no license plates, going throughout the city of Chicago.
Titi Mac.
45 minutes. Look at those immigrants.
So many slingshots.
Yeah.
2004 slingshot.
Oh, they're playing my song.
Excellent music.
This is crazy. 45 minutes.
I really love
All right. Hey, welcome to Behind Enemy Lines. So I wasn't even planning on being on. I just got back from Florida waiting for my server to get here, my process server for the cum guzzler from up north. I'm not home. Fuck you. I'm not home. So we got Tommy and Jenny on. Thank you. Thank you for
I
jumping
did
in
it.
here.
Okay, so Terry, on Thursday, in all fairness, I didn't know we were allowed to swear because I'm used to FCC rules.
Oh, come on. I mean,
So now fuck everybody.
yeah, you guys are allowed to swear here. I know people are bitching. As a matter of fact, I got some YouTube stuff. I'm getting a lot of complaints. I'll try to
That we're on?
No, that I'm swearing too much. I
Oh,
don't
fuck
even, I
that.
try to slow it down. So anyway, we're gonna first talk about. Obviously, we got the unsafe space folks back on, and we're gonna first talk about the street takeovers. That was a street takeover that was 2 years ago in Bridgeport on a Sunday afternoon. They were there for 45 minutes at 35th. I forgot the exact north south street. Ashland, maybe? No, I don't know. I think it was further east. Bridgeport. It was on the edge of Bridgeport. My daughter had an art contest that I had to go there. I was late. I'm like, what the hell is this? So I film it. Then I go to and tell my son's there. And I made him come back with me to film that. He was standing behind me. He was scared to death. I said, "Come on, son, you got to like Tom. You got to get your kids into stuff they're scared of, right?" And I said,
Yeah.
"Listen, I know my wife was mad. It's a little quote dangerous, but I said, just smile at them, just nod, stay behind dad, and act like
Mhm.
you're admiring their bikes, right? And they won't know any different." That's all we did, and then filmed them, and so be it. And here we are. And I called my friend who was actually working as a Chicago police officer that day, and I was like, "Hey, I got these guys are here in the middle of the street, and the medians, donuts, sidewalks." And they were there for 45 minutes because I went back and left. They're still there. And they, they said that they were forced to stand down. The police.
Of course.
It was 2 years ago, and that's what's still going on to this day, right, guys? Look at how
That
do you not control that shit?
that directive came directly from the mayor's office,
Yeah.
and his agenda obviously is to create. Well, he feels sorry for all these kids. Well, whatever they are, but that's what's happening. I know a lot of people in the 18th district, kind of all over the city. The mayor's orders is to just go to calls. That's it. And if there's
Yeah.
anything like this, let them sort it out on their own.
Yeah, and this in this case, it's not kids. These were illegals. Are all of them
Yeah.
illegal? Like did I go and
That's
look?
half the city.
Yeah, did I go and look at licenses and do like a detailed analytical survey? Hell no. They're speaking Spanish. Most 90% of them were speaking Spanish. You couldn't hear all of it.
Who gave them the free slingshots?
Yeah, they got the
Yeah.
well, there's probably the money we're paying them back then, however thousands per month, right? When they were getting their little cards and stuff for food. And they had
Yeah.
they had their faces covered. You see, I mean, it was a little, it was I didn't have a jacket on. I didn't, what I mean? So my kid had a t-shirt on, so it wasn't quite that cold. I think it was in the spring. You notice how they had their faces covered. A lot of them were not street legal. Many of them that were street legal didn't have license plates or they were bent up. So they were there knowing what they're doing. They're not immigrants
Mhm.
that are here to simulate. They're saying, F you to America. We're going to take over your streets. If you don't like it, too effing bad. And then Brandon Johnson's okay with it and says, don't do anything.
Of course. Yeah, well, obviously, I think his approval rating is 3%, but um, it's continued. It's on the north side, the south side. It's even happening in some of the suburbs. And obviously, the Safety Act, it gives the police really no powers to do much.
No, Terry, let me tell you something. So, a week ago, Sunday, Tom and I own a business. Okay, a week ago, Sunday, we decided to close our business. We were there for 3 months straight, 7 days a week. We went up to Wisconsin. We went to the Wisconsin State Fair. We went through a bad storm going there. It was horrible. So, but we once we got up there, it was sunny, but hot and humid and all the things, right? So we got all the great food and the fried whatever you want to do. And it started to get dark and it's like, okay, no, we're not going to hang out in Milwaukee. And it started to get a little shady. Rode the ride, the sky glider, all the things. It's like, nope, we're gonna head back before it gets a little shady. I was there last year. It rained, it flooded, they shut it down and closed it a day later. Here's the thing about it is we left before it got dark out. Sure as I know I can swear on here now, sure as fucking shit. Teen takeovers took over, and they're not a bunch of white teens. It's the white teens that actually got slammed. They got kicked in the jaws, blood spurting out of their faces at the Wisconsin State Fair. And this isn't in like a secluded corner, it's in the main food area, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You have to go there to find out. But Tom's like, nope, we're leaving. We're not staying here before it gets dark. We parked in somebody's yard for
Mhm.
$20. And but here's the thing is it's like it's not safe for white middle-aged people to be out anywhere.
Yes.
That's the big thing right now.
So now the cum guzzler and the wildebeest grifting Shrek is going to take that edit and say we said that and you're racist. I'm kidding.
I know I'm racist because
Yeah.
Zoe
Yeah.
doesn't think that she's doing anything wrong, and I'm going to say it, Terry, because I know that you won't, and I know that you're trying to keep peace, but I don't have to because these grifters have attacked me for over a year now.
Yeah. Yeah. So I had to slip that in there. And they're really, we do give them too much attention. I mean, I think the only attention, matter of fact, the views that they get are because of us. They are because of us. And
Mhm.
Well,
but
she'll
yeah,
learn, and I'll tell you, Terry.
wanna
hang on,
waste-
I don't
I
mean
don't
to
waste too much
interrupt you.
time on these dirtbags. Let me say one thing, then we'll go back to we'll pivot back to the street takeovers because I was down in Florida listening to these two grifters last night, and Rice is irrelevant. I mean, everyone knows he's a loser. I think Zoe and her Chicago Flip Red thinking they're the shit because you get these dumb Republican white people think they're relevant. They can't win elections. They can't endorse people that win. They can't do anything but grift. And this woman had the balls to act like she helped me, right?
Yeah.
She helped me. So I invited. They were lucky. Danielle, I have nothing against Danielle. It's the wildebeest, but they're lucky to be on the stage with me, Ben Bergquam, and Ann Vandersteel. Lucky. I invited them because they were trying to do good before we knew that they were grifters. Now it all came out what kind of grifters they are, right? And then they would give a perspective from the inner city in Chicago, right? So the illegal invasion of Chicago, which really was the epicenter, the cancer spread to us. So we have the right to talk about Chicago. We have the right to talk about all those illegals because they came out here. They're brought in here primarily because of the Chicago Democrats that wanted this, right? So they got what they wanted. The cancer came and affected us. And then the wildebeest thinks we can't talk about it. And then she's like, we did him a favor. And then we drove all the way out there. So they drove all the way out to Addison. And this snap chick is like bitching about the gas to come. She's lucky to grace the stage with us, right? Lucky, I swear to God, she's lucky to be on the stage with us, to act like they did me a favor. If they would have told me they were doing me a favor, I would have told them to get the fuck out, right? So that's number one. Number two, yeah, we were on his show. If you notice, I think they were on my show twice. The second time, I didn't even waste my oxygen coming on. I think Mike did it by myself, right? I had him come on. We need a spot for a guest for a cancellation. She don't bring an uplift or anything to my channel, right? Now, if they weren't grifters and they were truly African American patriots that were really Republicans, that would be different. But they have no traction in their community. They're not doing anything. Then she goes forward and says, if you remember Tom Homan, I was supposed to have an event at the Federal Plaza last year in Chicago, and it was a couple reasons. One, we could be safe and security because it's the Federal Plaza for a reason. ATF, DEA, FBI, right? To provide the security and not rely on Chicago police officers, of which I talked to my friends and they said they could do the exterior perimeter. And this is the midst of all the heated shit that was going on. It's still going on to this day, right? So Tom was going to come in. We were going to honor him of coming to Chicago, of which I had secret private meetings with Tom and other people coming to Chicago and other Democrats that were wanting him to come into the city of Chicago. If you notice, I did not invite Chicago Flip Red because they're irrelevant. It was people that were relevant that came to that meeting. And so because of the Texas facility was shot up, if you remember,
Yep.
it was Antifa guys, I think, too.
Yeah.
Facility, Tom had to reschedule, and we haven't had a chance to do that. His schedule is so darn crazy, right? But I did invite them, and this is ironic. This is funny, right? So I had somebody that you guys know, I'm not going to say his name, was going to pay for the signs. No different than a mini George Soros. You know how they pay for all the signs? So I had a whole mix of signs we're going to order and get done at the last minute. And one of them was Pritzker with the mustache, right? Like Hitler, like they do to Trump, right? We give them some of their own medicine. Well, Zoe from Chicago Flip Red said, we're not going to show up if you have that poster there. Chicago Flip Red won't be there. And I'm like, oh, really? Well, no fucking come. I don't need you. Don't come. You're going to give me an ultimatum? You're lucky I even fucking invited you there again. So here's the bigger question, Tom, Jenny, why would she be upset? Because she's MAGA, right? Shrek is MAGA. If she's really MAGA and what they've done to Donald Trump, his family, the images, the beheading, the Hitler, the Nazis to us, why would she be worried? There was going to only be 5 posters with Pritzker like with the Nazi mustache, a Hitler mustache.
Hey
Why
Terry,
would
I'm gonna tell you
her?
what they keep my name out your fucking mouth.
Yeah, yeah.
Idiot.
That's
Here's
because
the thing.
she's a Democrat. Why would she care about Pritzker? She did not want to upset
She's a
Pritzker.
Democrat because she's
Right.
partnering up
Yeah,
with Max. I'm
yeah,
gonna say
she's-
two
she's
disclaimers
grifting.
here. One, Jessica Jackson, I truly believe that
Yeah, I like
that
that.
woman
Yeah.
has the best of intentions.
She does. I agree with you.
I
100%.
think that Jessica Jackson should separate from Zoe.
Yeah.
100,000,000%.
Yeah.
She's amazing. Two, Mark Rice, I think he'd be the best congressional candidate if he weren't associated with his son.
Yeah.
He
Oh,
probably would
Absolutely.
win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. He's a hardworking guy.
Yeah.
He's very smart. The other thing is a lot of people on the street have said that renouncing this nonsense that he does. I don't care who, the relation, whatever. He's deranged. And
Yes,
they're constantly
totally.
attacking people with fake the fake
Yeah.
Josh Gormans and
Yeah.
the Nathaniel. I mean, I was a cop for quite a while. I mean, really, at some point,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
they're
so-
I think they're hitting a dead end soon
Yeah.
because there's a lot of different law enforcement agencies.
No,
They're
so
just
I
waiting. They're waiting for them to fall into the catcher's mitt, and they
Yeah,
are.
so I think there's a couple good people that are in the mix, right? So Zoe's gonna find out, just like I accidentally did and let Max Rice. I went to my brother's wedding and let Max Rice run my show. Huge fucking mistake.
Oh my God. Yeah. 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 She's going to find that out. And I got one last
She
thing
will.
before we switch off these fucking retards, these irrelevant retards, is that Zoe from Chicago Flip Red is saying that, yeah, I wanted to have it at the Chicago Theater. Did you hear?
Keep my name out of your fucking
Yeah.
mouth.
Have it at the Chicago Theater, but Terry wanted to have his games, and Max said like the DSA. It's like, no, I wanted to have something in the trenches with Holman, but we had to reschedule it. I was trying to do something else with them, but it was so Zoe gets credit, right? She did want to have it at the Chicago Theater. That was her idea. Well, Big Zoe from Chicago Flip Red, why didn't you go get the fucking money to do it? You want me to pay for it? You couldn't even pay for fucking gas without bitching to drive from the ghettos to Addison. But then
I
you're
don't
gonna,
know why they didn't put my mugshot on there last night.
yeah, I
I
told
feel left out.
I wanted to have it at the Chicago Theater. Okay, you're welcome. As a matter of fact, you're such a big shot, Flip Red. Go get all that money from whoever, Chicago Flip Red, and get that Chicago Theater and have that real thing that you wanted to have. The real thing. And you got the receipts, Zoe? Show the receipts, you fucking phony grifter. You deleted everything we said. I don't want to talk about them. Let's pivot back. Let's pivot back
Yeah.
to Chicago. Look, go ahead, Tommy. You're more level-headed. Pick it up. Talk about the T.
Is he though?
No, I'm very level-headed. But here's the thing with the takeovers. I've spoken to people, different agencies, that they're like, our hands are tied. Now, a lot of these suburbs now, they've got different things in act that they're trying to do. But with the city, if you see with the city, there's probably, I think, 3 or 4 takeovers a weekend. If it's either downtown, the south side, the north side. But what's happened is, and I was in a meeting with some congressional people about 2 years ago, and they always pinpointed the one thing, and they said that the Chicago area is where the socialist movement will expand and
Huge.
fall right out of it. It will mushroom out, and that's what's happened. You've had it. Las Vegas police, they just had somebody they arrested. They don't play around out there. Arizona and Phoenix too. So this is a movement that they want to spread to other cities, and it's awful. You could be out to dinner with your wife, your girlfriend, your family, and then you pull up to this and you got to watch this for an hour and you can't get out of it because there's 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 of them. So
yeah. When I go to those events, Tom, like with the Maduro one, the Iran one, or any of them, right? The millions of these, I didn't even know they had this many democratic, socialist, communist, Marxist, all this stuff. I mean, all these different organizations, they're on the banners.
Yeah.
We to your point, we are the epicenter of this shit. Actually, we've been.
That's what they wanted, and this
We've
came
been like
from the 40. I call them Operator 44, and that's how this all started. They wanted to do this, and they pretty much were actually so excited to see Brandon Johnson because he's clueless, anyways. But That's what they want. They want a ding dong in the office, and they want him to follow their orders. And that's what's really happening. I mean, we can go down the road at how this goes from the Soros money to the different foundations and the different climate change groups, but that's what is funding this in out of chaos, which is what they want. It's called shark bumping. You just keep bumping, bumping until it just turns out all chaos, and then that gives them more power.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's an old Roman strategy, and that's what they're doing. And they're trying to do every city. Jenny and I've covered this even on the radio, where some of these congressional races, these people have come out of the woodwork. They're right out of the Communist Party.
Absolutely. I mean,
Well, I think they are for sure.
Well, we know that, but you can't. But some of the races that we've seen, I can't believe the numbers of votes these guys are getting, girls and guys. I've said I'll say it again. Every major city, the three major cities, New York, Chicago, and Los Angeles, are run by socialists.
Yeah,
hardcore too.
And this is a compliment to you, Jenny, because you're younger. But Tom, you think about when we were younger, and if these people would not even want to touch, say,
oh God,
they wouldn't want their name associated. Now, mainstream Democrat, not all of them, right? Some, I think some of them are pretending that they're against it, even though they're not, right?
Yeah.
Right. But here, Terry, where I grew up, right? No one called the police.
Yeah,
it was handled by the neighbors, the neighborhood. Now everyone's afraid.
That's why Max Rice is lucky it's not the old days.
Oh God. Well,
right. Sorry.
I always say, be careful what tree you bark up. The long game hurts.
That's not even a threat. That's kind of like just a fact.
Yeah, but the long game is really awful when you bark up the wrong tree. But here's the deal. If you look at some of these neighborhoods in Chicago that were old school neighborhoods, the thing that people say is as soon as something goes down, everyone's out with the phones. Yeah. So that is their mechanism to be tough. And it's not really tough. It's a weakness, but they pull out phones and start recording people. And to me, that's a sign of a really timid, coward, weak person.
Yeah, it is.
If you want to go scrap with me, sure. Yeah. I don't need my phone.
Yeah, right. Or my helmet.
Yeah, I'm just saying that for reference.
My helmet.
But here, yeah. But if you look at some of these neighborhoods and different places that these takeovers are going, these neighbors are just losing it. And that's why, if you look at the numbers in Chicago, some of these neighborhoods, everyone's leaving. There's so much commercial property for lease in Chicago. One of the reasons is the chaos that's going on.
And because I think, cause I watched some of your show last week, and I told you before when you were talking about the topics of the Illinois GOP, and I support and endorse every opinion you have about how irrelevant the Illinois GOP is and how ineffective they are. And that's why we're in the situation we're in right now.
I said that to an elected official. He said to me, well, what are you going to bring to this was when I was running. He said, what do you bring to the table? I said, well, common sense, number one.
Yeah, right.
And I looked at him and I said, here's the other thing. If you think I'm going to go up there with a Superman cape and give speeches and run and that I'm going to solve all the problems, I said, the problem is I'm trying to bring back a conservative thought process and bring out the people who work hard and pay these enormous taxes and get the group back together. But here's the problem. And Terry, you know this. I've had private conversations with you. I couldn't begin to tell you how many old school Republican people say, I'm not voting. I'm getting out of here. I don't want anything to do with this. And this is a message that they just don't get. They think if they post pictures online with cheerleading outfits and we're going to win and get out the vote. No, get out the vote. Go door to door and hit these neighborhoods. Talk to these people because they're fed up.
Yeah, one of the things we need to do, and that's what I tried to do with Dean White and Richard Porter and somebody else, and then I had Pastor David Lowry. He invited P. Ray. That was a joke. She wasn't even invited, and she came.
Right.
Got her way in. I had Devin Jones. I had Latasha Fields, her husband. I had Stephanie Trussell. And trying to, when I asked them when I first got into this, like, who's your point of contact for African American Hispanics? There was nobody. And so me, just a new committeeman, I'm like, well, here, meet with these people. Part of the problem is that we all fight, right, on our side. And then they fight as well, and maybe even more on their side because they know how ineffective the Illinois GOP is. So they're all fighting to be like the Martin Luther King of the Republican Party of Illinois or something. And they see that big void or vacancy. And there's only so every time we came across Chicago, they're grifters, and I know Devin put a good foot forward trying, and he got actually from that dinner, he was able to get money from some of the folks to get the first ever, which I was proud of, to set up the introduction. Devin did the work, right? He's done the work. He did the work. Unfortunately, got frustrated, but they gave him the money to open up the first ever in the city of Chicago's history of African American led Republican office. It's a big deal. It should have been national news. There should have been more money flowing in, not
Right.
just a little bit of seed money here, and we'll just check off the box. Here, Devin,
Right.
here's a couple bucks, and we're good. Oh, yeah, we're in with the African Americans. No,
Yep.
it takes money, time, and investment, and unfortunately, it didn't happen. And again, I think we talked. The Illinois GOP isn't racist. Are there racists in the Illinois GOP? Yeah, there's some, just like any other.
But there's also racists in the Illinois Dems group, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, big time. But what I'm saying is that they're ineffective. They're incompetent. It's not because they're racist. The Illinois GOP is not a racist organization. It's just a big, irrelevant, incompetent, ineffective.
No offense to you two, we have to get rid of some of the boomers. End of story.
Well,
But I don't mean that in an offensive way, but we have to start training some of the YRs.
no, I agree. I agree.
But the thing is, you have a strong point.
Tommy's not a boomer, so I think you insulted
Well,
him.
here's the thing. Here's the real facts of it all. Let's go back 20, 30 years ago. You had Don Stevens, the Rosemont Republicans, the Leiden Township Republicans. I bring them up all the time because they're a force not to, even now. They might be moderate, but they are conservative people. They keep their neighborhoods intact. In the fairy tale princess gang that we're dealing with, they would put an end
Okay.
to this. Right?
Hang on, you're from St. Charles. We got some of the.
But here, let me just get this out,
involved.
because the problem is that we don't have effective speakers who are really going to come through. When you had Don Stevens, Pate Phillips, the different people that were strong Republicans, and they kept the western suburbs intact, you don't have that now. You have all these different people who've penetrated this party, and they're not Republicans. And the Republican Party, the upper brass, is allowing it to happen, which they should denounce these people.
Who's allowing it to happen?
No,
The GOP is allowing it to happen. The fat fucks from Dundee, the King County, the DuPage, the everything are allowing it to happen.
That's what I'm trying to explain to you.
They
That
are
there's
allowing
not.
it. Okay, we'll say it. Well,
Yeah.
we're not on. We don't have
But
an
here's
FCC
the
contract here. So
here's the thing is that there, and I'll tell you what a lot of old Republicans have said to me, people that I know that they're just done. They're like, we're moving. We're either going to Tennessee or Florida. But a lot of them have said, I don't see anything here that attracts me to go vote for any of this.
No.
But I've talked to Terry about it too, and I said, here's what happens: is the GOP, the loser GOP of the counties or the townships, they're not going to get it done. It's losers that can't win a race, and they want to have a sense of power, right? So what needs to happen is people who are not elected in, but have a platform. Me, Terry, there's a couple others. Tommy, you have a platform. You got over 5,000. You're maxed out on Facebook.
I've got 8,000 people
Yeah,
that I.
so
But
here's the thing.
let
Hang on.
me. Yeah.
I'm talking. Hang on 1 second. So what's happening is the people like us that want the greater good of Illinois are the people that need to come in and step it and be like, hey, GOP with 462 friends, you don't get to say what's happening in this township.
Right. But
Because
here's
all
the
you
thing.
want is more followers or friends or whatever it is.
Well, it's an ego
done with
fest for them. But here, I told you, Terry, I think I might have told you this a while back, is I had a retired Democrat senator from Illinois, very powerful guy too, by the way, say to me when I was running, he goes, why don't you get your head examined? And I go, why is that? He goes, I'm telling you, you got to run as a Democrat if you want to win this office. And I said, well, why do you say that? He goes, because they just don't have steam anymore. He said, let me lay this out for you. The 24 years that I was in office and all the things that I've seen, he goes, they've lost their momentum. They've lost their voice. No one's paying attention to them anymore. They actually see all this infighting and all this because the social media has opened up a can of worms for them. Where people see this and they're like, what am I voting for? And it's not that people want to say, well, I like this guy because his suit, his shoes. No, they want to vote for somebody that's going to stop this tax crap, the
Mhm.
street takeovers. They want someone that's going to move along and make some things happen so that they can go home with a bigger paycheck and stop paying these enormous taxes. Here, for example, the tollway's having a hearing again to raise the fees again. Not only did we just pay a tax on the CTA garbage, now the tollway's going to have another hearing to raise them again. When does it stop? Well, the reason it doesn't stop is because the Republican Party is not strong. And I hate to sound like that because I'm still a conservative, I'm a Republican,
Yeah, no, I agree.
but it is so ugly to watch and to hear people say, my taxes are 15,000 on my home and I live in a suburban town just outside of Chicago. That's disgusting.
Yeah.
You're paying 1,500 a month for some BS. And you know, it's all for pork crap. The CTA, what does somebody down in Springfield, Rantoul, Illinois, Cairo, Illinois, want to pay high taxes for the CTA? The CTA, all it is convicted felons riding it and holding people up. No one rides that anymore.
Oh, could I ride that for free?
Yeah,
Club. So another thing,
but it's true.
Yes, another thing that pisses me off is, so if, for instance, we, because I first started out, fighting against the porn, the drag queens and stuff. Oh, not January 6th was not the first event I went to, by the way, in my political career. It was fighting the porn, the drag queens, transvestite, drag Santa,
Yeah.
drag bingo, right? And then what does Pritzker do? He puts in a book banning bill, right? And I was actually on the news, a couple
Mhm.
channels, debating against him and Janulias. And
Yeah.
so we're in the state of Illinois, Pritzker, and it's got to be unconstitutional. So say if we're lucky enough to win a school board over somewhere in the state of Illinois, right? We're
Which
not
we
doing
won't.
anything, right? And then we all get together and say, you know what? These posters that you all saw here that, you saw me many times, the oral sex, girl with a strap on, a boy giving head to her. We don't think that's appropriate for 13, 14-year-old kids to see. We don't want this books in our kids' schools. Yes, you want to have books that associate with gay kids and challenges and stuff, but not sexual books. Pritzker put in the book banning bill that says if we take over at the local level, of which the school boards are for, right? You
Mhm.
have school board elections to control at your local level. He will withhold our own tax dollars from our kids' schools. That's like
Yep.
taxation without representation at our school level. You
That-
have elections
Yep.
to do that. He comes in like a king and says, "Oh no, you know what? If you take that blowjob book out of there, I'm keeping all your money from your
Terry,
own."
what? I
It's
thought we
Terry.
had no Kings protest.
Yes.
What are
But
you
Terry,
talking about?
if you see the same style he used, that same extortion tactic with the cities and towns in Chicago area and all over Illinois, where he wants to take control of the zoning and all the different things. And so what he did was he's strong arming them, and he'll pull back on the taxes, giving the property tax money for the state. So instead of 10%, it's down to 6. So it's all games to put you in control. And a lot of people are falling for this.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know really if you were just to step back and say, if I've always said the weakest people are the ones that can't think for themselves. I think a lot of voters are like that now. They just don't think for themselves, and they don't look at the reality of the ugliness. That's how some of these grifters and all these cuckoo clocks end up. These people are crazy, and they end up in the I've never seen anything like
Oh
it.
my God, it's like a retard school. Another thing, and this goes back to the leadership, right? Talking about control and setting the messaging and the excitement and everything. So Senator John Kern, the minority leader, right? The guy's like the Jolly Green Giant. You got Shrek on one hand, we got the Jolly Green Giant, Senate minority leader, right? John Kern, big old guy, doesn't have any balls. I think his balls were shaved off on accident when he played football. And he refused to denounce porn. Our daughters were on the same volleyball team. I said, would you, when they're
Right.
please denounce? He's our representative, right? He represents us, our children. He refused. He's getting money from the teachers, the most corrupt, radical teachers union pushes the tampon machines, all this stuff.
Yeah.
He refused because he was being paid off. Now, if we had good leaders at the GOP would say, you know what, Kern, get the fuck out of here. We're going to run somebody against you. And then and Tommy, you know this being a union guy or, union family, the amendment won. That was destructive. You know what that bill did? I mean, that gave, it's just the, public sector unions. Well, you know what? It gave the union leaders the control of our state. So say if Jenny's the governor, she's a Democrat, I'm a Democrat, we're Democrat unions, and we're going to say we want something radical. And Jenny's going to have a little common sense as a Democrat governor and say, well, I don't really agree with that, Tommy and Terry. Well, we come back as union leaders. Well, you know what? Fuck you. We're going on strike. Well, no, fuck you. Either you do it, we're going on strike. These are behind closed door discussions that the unions can go into the governor's office and say either you do X, Y, and Z, or keep the blowjob books at the teachers union, right? Keep them in
Right.
the school. No, I want them out. It's not acceptable. Keep them in the school. We're going on strike. We could go on strike for anything we want to go on strike for right now. And we can negotiate with the governor and say, we're going to give you a black eye. Either you do this or we're going on strike. Or you know what I mean? People don't even
Yeah.
understand that power and authority unions now have because of this. And guess what? Guess who John Curran voted for? Amendment 1. And we asked
Yep.
him. He was in my Downers Grove Township. Well, that's not the hill I
Oh
wanted
wait,
to
but
die on.
hang on. I saw the comments about you in Downers Grove Township today. You're the crazy one because
Yeah.
you don't want kids being.
Yeah.
Yep, you're the crazy one because you don't want
Real
kids,
hard.
naked kids around and sex offenders and stuff like that. They actually attacked you today, Terry.
Yep.
Because
You know-
you didn't want sex offenders around.
Terry, here's the crazy thing with this is this is part of the socialist agenda, is to indoctrinate your children to worship the earth. And I'll go down this road, but this is to pull people away from God. Believe me, if you look at the way they work things,
Mhm. Yeah. And
it's an ugly scene. It's
it's
very
to pull
ugly.
people away from God and their parents. They
Exactly.
don't want them to be like us, right?
Mhm.
Let me jump on this one. Very right, MAGA, like Proud Boys supporter right here, right? Okay. So I going to bed last night trying to doze off. Oh, I see my fake ass mugshot show up. Shaw Local, Daily Herald, Kane County Chronicle. I'm all over the internet at like 9:30 last night, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, here we fucking go. Didn't do anything wrong. This is weeks ago. I had an abusive ex that claims that he's paid for everything when I bought him his life.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
so
and you have the bank records. I've seen it all. It's
Yes,
all a big
and
and
I
it's
do.
a big power play, and it's gonna
And-
get ugly now.
hang on, and that's okay. What
Yeah.
is the and so I wake up this morning, 6:30 in the morning, and I look, there's 130 messages, all these laughy emojis, all the thing, and not for nothing, a million supporters. There's a really good amount of supporters. But right below my article, and I'm nobody other than a trustee and somebody that's just trying to make my community better.
Mhm.
Right below me, somebody with 44 counts of child pornography, sexual offenses. You know, he's got one angry face and one comment after my hundreds of likes or like reactions.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just a trustee, a mom with 2 kids. And then and right after me, it was something like 14 minutes after me, they posted, the same newspapers posted somebody with 44 counts,
Who is it?
felony sex offenders. I forget what it was. It
Okay.
was in King County.
Well,
But people went on there, they're like, you're all commenting on this one when
Yeah.
that,
yeah.
and 44 counts
Right.
of child sex offender.
So I want to do a shout out just on Facebook. We're not on all the other channels. Hey, what's up, Shane? Randy Lee. Yes, we're going to move to Florida. I was just scoping it out. We're here for about another year. What's up, Mickey? Scoring a Vaco. What's up, Mickey? Hey, Ed. See you what? Nancy Gallo. How's John Hancock doing? That's an inside joke. I knew her since we were 17. She went on a date with my cousin. I used to call him John Hancock.
Oh, that's nice.
Hey, Nance.
But-
Emily Cahill. Everybody loves Emily Cahill. That woman is like a soldier. She has more courage and balls than I do. She goes out by herself with her little sign, "I love ice," and gets beat up and doesn't start trouble. And she goes alone. And I tell her not to go to alone. And
I
she is a little
actually called
superhero.
her for some help today. I'm like, I need somebody to give me the courage that you have to go out there and just own our shit.
It's very
And so
dangerous.
we have a call
Yeah,
center.
it is very dangerous, and I get worried about her. And I'm glad. I love that she does it. At the same time, get worried.
But see, here's my perspective on all this, and it's not a perspective I've seen this go on with Jenny. Here's the issue with it all, and it's people what extreme levels they will go to if they want something they can't have.
Mhm.
And that's what this is about. And it's even with the pork barrel over there in Dundee. The other thing with that is it's people, because Jenny showed me the text and different things. It's people who just because they know they're not going to find anyone else, but people who can't have something, so they'll go to these measures to try and defame you. But there you go again. It's like I've said, we live in a society now. I'm a bit older, but a lot of these they're just cowards and weak.
Yeah.
And they hide, and Terry, like we do we want to cover this all the time and give attention to it, but it really just shows you how weak they really are.
Oh yeah.
You use fake profiles.
Yeah.
And then, for example, I got a call about 2-3 weeks ago from West Dundee police saying I threatened a certain individual. And I'm like, the hell are you talking about?
Yeah.
I told him, I said, I told him where I worked. And I said, some of the people, he goes, really? I go, yeah. He goes, I go, do you have any proof of that? They go, no. I said, look, pal, let me tell you something. This guy couldn't have her. Okay. So when I met Jenny and she saved my life from the heart attack I had, this is the road they go down because they're just so angry. But it's really, if they look in the mirror, they're just ugly with themselves.
Yes.
Really, it's a psychological thing. And
So-
they'll end up going nowhere.
One more, I want to say one more thing. Then
Yeah.
then you lead the discussion. Are we talking about the U.S. dollar and the dangers of what's going to happen if we lose that? I got to say one more
Right.
thing. We've already gave these fucking kumquats too much attention, and so it's good for the local folks, our local friends. But we got a lot of national people watching, right? And so Frank Lardino. Hey, Chad LaRoe and Frank Lardino. They did a 5-hour interview with me 2 months ago, and they're going through the editing and stuff, and it's going to be on the Warriors podcast. I'm doing the 3 different chapters of my life, and the first one, organized crime, mob, drug deal, all that stuff. I just want to clarify, and this will be coming out. So you heard the cum guzzler say that slam me for going to prison, but at the same time, he said that I wasn't even a real drug. And again, I'm not proud of who I was, you guys, right? I'm proud of who I became, all the stuff I did, going to state, federal prison. Yes, I was a Latin king in state prison. That'll be in the story. I blew up cars. I beat people up. I collected money. I sold hand grenades. I did all that shit, right? And it's going to be on the show. It's going to be in my book. So the cum guzzler said I didn't even have the courage to be a real drug dealer. I was a recruiter for a car dealership that sold. I don't even know where the hell that came from. I don't even know where the fuck that came from. But just to be
Fuck
clear, Frank,
them. Who gives a shit? I always tell you guys, who gives a fucking shit?
that's how crazy he is, right? And you guys are going to have the show. The only reason I'm bringing this up is to show you how fucking crazy this guy is.
Yeah.
He's on there with the ghetto Shrek talking about stuff that just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And it's going to come out because the reason it's taking so long is that Frank has my papers and shit, right? This is the DEA saying, because a lot of people do shows and they claim to be more than they are. Some people even say they got in 300 fights on the streets of Cicero when they got none, right? And so I have the receipts. Again,
Oh, you mean the presumptive nominee?
I'm not proud of it, but I just want to get this out there. No, I wasn't a recruiter. I was high level, just like in all the stories that were written about me. And when they show up and do the sketches of me, just like you see in the TV and stuff, right? In the reports from the DA, I was, you'll see it, right? They knew he sold 16 to 18 keys international from Sicily through New York. You'll see that. No, I'm not proud of who I was. I'm proud of who I became. And all those things I did shape, mold me in to who I am to fight and go out and confront all these people I am for our kids and country now. It really did. And I feel that's why I had that journey. I really do. I got recruited at 20 years old, at early 20s. I didn't even know what that shit was. Never saw it. And I met these older mob associated guys and I'm like, wow, I won the lottery here. I'm part of the club now. This is awesome. And
will contest. You have a beautiful wife and a
Thank you.
beautiful family, and you're doing everything right, Terry. And we envy the life
Thank
that
you.
you live. And
thank you. I
you
appreciate
got
it.
our support. And
Yeah.
you, like I said, you're a beautiful family man.
Thank you. So
Hey, Terry, it's funny you said that because where I grew up. And a lot of my friends watch all this, and these are real tough guys, right? The neighborhood. We all fought people. It was a wild time. Okay. But if you look at life, the Gospels always say, you know, you can have a rough time in life, but you can turn it around. And I'm proud of you that you did that, because really, if you look at the world, some people just don't turn it around. They just
It's hard.
continue to go down an ugly path. And even like some of the stuff we've talked about tonight, it's just ugly stuff. It's
Yeah.
ugly.
And when your
one other
kids
thing-
need you in Florida, you guys are down
Yeah.
there and you guys
Yeah.
are great.
You had one other thing too, and I know I gave him too much attention because it's going to come out in the show. You know, he said, "Oh, he's a beefer. Oh, yeah, these are my Joe Biden FBI headsets. They're my Home Depot ones. Breaker one on to the FBI."
Yeah.
So he said, "Oh yeah, he testified against the Cali cartel and the vice lords." No, you fucking idiot! I was set up by the Cali cartel. I was working with the Cali cartel 35 years ago. I got set up by the Cali cartel. No, I didn't set up the Cali cartel, you stupid fuck.
Yeah.
Right? I did not testify against one of my friends. One. And this is going to come out in the show. The first time I went down, I was a stand-up guy. I said nothing. Told the guys they had pictures. They knew everything about it. We still worked with them afterwards. Everybody knows who John Kappas is. They know he's got a book. He's got a show coming up, documentary miniseries. John worked for me. I went down first. I could have put John in jail. I did not. John's my friend. We talk. Jimmy Feccarata, he's from those streets. Do you think somebody with Jimmy Feccarata's background would talk to me? Tommy, you know that.
Yeah, I know.
I did not tell on anyone.
You know, you're talking about somebody who's about as Italian as a can of beefaroni.
Yeah. So
I mean, I grew up in Elmwood. I mean, people know. I mean, we don't play games. You know what's funny is I tell Jenny this all the time. You know, the way I grew up, you keep your mouth shut. You know, but if people want to bark up your tree at some point,
Right.
a man's man will defend it. But I'm in the long game, and I'm just going to wait for the long game, and that's how it goes. But let's get back to the show with the other topic.
I gotta finish this. Why I brought that up, right? So I did what I was supposed to do the first time. When I'm getting out on work release, the guys I could have put in prison, the guys that recruited me into a business that I knew nothing about, was fucking my fiance. The same girl I signed a confession and a search warrant. Nancy Gallo, I know you're watching this here, hon. You could comment to back me up on that. It was her best friend, her neighbor. I signed a confession and a search warrant. I fucked up. I should have never had her in the car, and I never did. I signed a confession, a search warrant to let her out. I took them back. I signed it. I signed away where they got a half a key. I had 5 other stash houses, by the way.
You told us the story a couple weeks ago when we went to dinner with you and your wife, and I believe every word that you say.
And I did not. So I go and tell the guys I work for right away. I'm like, holy fuck, they got pictures of us. The campus, they got pictures of me. Oh my God. You know, I tell about the guys I'm working for right away. I didn't go to tell them. I didn't set them up.
Yeah.
They knew that. Campus knows the story. And sure enough, my ex-fiance, that she's beautiful, right? When I'm in prison, guess who's fucking my fiance?
No,
When I get on work release.
don't
Yeah,
tell the story on the line.
right? And so when I got in trouble by the feds, you know, with hand grenades, I mean, it's fucking crazy. You're gonna hear the story. So yes, I was looking at big time. I gladly, and everybody knows about it. Why do you think Max Pad Rice and his little butt buddy know about it? I bragged. I got revenge on those fuckers. Loyalty for any of you guys that don't get involved in this business talk. Oh, he's a beefer. It's a fucking two-way street. Listen, bitches, I went down. I did what I was supposed to do. What kind of loyalty? What did you guys do? You fucked my fiance, the woman I was supposed to marry. Right? You fucked it. You fucked up.
Don't you worry. Maxi Pad Rice has it coming to him like he doesn't even know.
And then he got these other the Cali cartel member in work release who set me up, right? The guy who set me up was put in there by the feds to set up the Cali cartel. Terry, out of luck, when I got out of Joliet, was put in as his roommate. I started working with him, and kind of all of a sudden, this guy's. I didn't know he was fucking working for the feds, and that's how I got in trouble again, right?
Yeah.
And so they had this big case against the prison guards, the vice lords. The vice lords, Max, were prison guards, and they were hitting up all the inmates. You come out to start your life anew, right? Start a knife. What do they do? Oh, Tommy sells. He's the drug dealer. He's got big money. Go hit Tommy. Hey, Tom, I'm gonna violate. You're going back to Joliet, bro. Come up with some cash and drugs. That's what these prison guards did to the guys that had money. They preyed on them. They rode them. They threatened them. They extorted them, i.e., Maxi Pad and his cum guzzler.
Hypocrisy lives throughout the world.
Here's the thing.
Yes,
That rich boy does not, He doesn't even understand real life. And
Yeah.
I don't claim to know
You know,
either,
it's
but here's the
And I,
thing.
oh, and I got the agent. Sorry, I'm fucking ranty. I shouldn't even brought this up and fucking did.
Go.
I got the agent that put Kappas in jail. They interviewed. He's in the movie. He's going to be in the show. And the same agent, Special Agent Randy Clifton, who came and they tried to get me when I was looking at 75 years. Actually, you'll see in the story, it was up to life, 10 years to life, right? And he tried to get me. They had images of pictures of the federal case of my brother and everything, right? And they said we knew you when you were gone. He was running the show and stuff. I said I don't know what you're talking about. And they go, listen, Newsom. I still remember clear day. I was fucking scared to death for my brother and my mom. And he's pointing at me. He goes, you know what, Newsom, you do big time. He goes, I'm going to give you time to think about it. The three agents left me sitting in the room downtown. But what's it going to be? And I said, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I said, I have no clue. He goes, he looked at the other agents, looked at me. He said, you know what? We respect you because most guys would tell them their mother in your situation. So I got these twiddle fucking ass licking bitches that don't even know what they're talking about. And they're going to talk about roofing and what the life is. Loyalty goes two ways. And you guys who know me from the political standpoint, so does Maxi Pad, his cum guzzler friend. You fuck with me, I get revenge. What did I do? What did I do? Fucking the two little guys. I fucking cooperated against the guys that fucked my fiance. I blew up other guys' cars that cooperated against my friends. I fucked their fiancés. I took their fucking engagement rings. I took their fucking cars. You fuck with me. That's what happens, right? And I was a stand-up guy, and they fucked me. And I'm proud to say it. And you're going to hear the whole story. Sorry. All right, let's go. Let's get into the financial stuff.
Real quick, I said to Jenny a couple of weeks ago, we were at dinner, and you deal with this the Princess gang. I said, if we have what they're talking about the draft and all that, because I think we're going to head to a big World War situation. If they had a draft, can you imagine these guys getting drafted? They would probably say, "Hey, can I use a fake profile on Facebook and go after the enemy?"
There.
That's how they work.
Nancy Gallo. Thank you, Nancy, honey.
Anyways,
listen, Nancy Gallo just said this on Facebook. All you said is totally accurate, Terry. She was my fiance's best friend and knows everything that I'm said. And you got
everybody's had a fucking enough of these losers, and I'm going to say it because we were on Thursday, I'm like, Terry, am I allowed to swear? You're like, absolutely. And I cut it clean. Everybody's had a fucking enough of these losers, including me, including the one that hijacked my fucking show on AM 560.
Paige.
I am done.
So, Freddie, I got one more here to Freddie Lee. Freddie Lee says, my family, 90 years in Evergreen Park, old school. Hey, Freddie, so I was bummed, when they got the Unabomber. And if you're not from Evergreen Park, the Unabomber, remember him? He's from Evergreen Park. I was the number, and this is going to be in the story, in the newspaper articles. I was the number one arrest for them. This is back in the in the 80s, right? And then the fucking Unabomber took me off of that. That fucking bastard.
Look at this. It's the freaking 20s. And they're writing news articles about a mom of two that's a trustee. It must have been a slow news day last night because they wrote articles over and over and over.
Well, if you take a look at the woman who wrote the article, it looks like she's not getting it too much.
They were all planned. Our friend coordinated
Terry, am I allowed to say whatever?
Yeah, but you gotta the cum guzzler, you can't say the cum guzzler's name.
She is a see you next Tuesday, the Democrat that wrote about me. Let me know if I'm allowed to say the word.
That's fine. So we got a few more minutes left. Let's
go
talk real
ahead.
Quickly, Tommy.
I wanted to talk about, which I talked about, Terry.
About it real quickly, Tommy, about the dangers.
So I tried to explain to people, and Jenny knows this. I've messed around with the markets and investing and watching different bond yields, but I really don't think. And let's get on a real serious topic. I don't think the American people are prepared for what's coming. And a lot of big hedge fund guys, a lot of big players in the market are saying something is going to pop because our bond yield, the treasuries, it's over 5%. I think it was at 5.75. We are at a very, very, very crucial point here where with a $40 trillion debt, and look, I know everyone likes Trump, but I just don't think he can control what's coming. I really do. I think there's going to be a tidal wave. Real estate, everything is overinflated at some point. This is actually, in fact, I was talking to a friend of mine who's an investor today. The numbers right now are 3 times worse than before the pop in 2008.
No, it's bad.
And I don't think, and they're all going to blame it, this one and that one. but this has been an orchestrated event, and they've done this with the inflation, and it's just getting uglier and uglier and uglier every day. And I think people don't see the dollar is in really, it's going to hit within the next 3 to 6 months. Something's got to pop. You can't sustain this anymore.
Yep.
You can't.
Yep. So you got to put your money in something safe now.
It's really not a political thing. It's more of a worldwide currency thing. And I do think the players behind the scene overseas are pushing Trump in a corner. They're manipulating him, and they're creating a situation where they want this international, worldwide currency to be digital. No more cash, worldwide.
So just so what Tommy said, I'm from the South Side. I'm not a economist, but I'm not a financial advisor. But I'll tell you this: I know enough. I did work for one of the biggest international consulting firms in the world.
Right.
Sales. That means I would take guys out to strip bars and drinking and dinner, and I have all the smart guys talking for me. But you got to understand, if they go off the U.S. dollar and do exactly what Tommy said, we're fucked. As a world power, as a superpower, we're fucked. So here's a little example for you guys, right? So they use the U.S. dollar, right? And that gives us
they're
no
pulling
dollar
the
bills in thongs any longer.
Here's the thing too: the petrodollar. They're trading oil in different currencies now because the BRIC currency they were using. But I know everyone. See, I really believe a lot of the things going on are distractions for what's really going on, and a lot of people are waiting for this to pop.
Yeah,
and I believe it. Real estate here. Look in Illinois with the BlackRock, the big
sold
venture.
my house. I'm like, fuck! You guys gave me $25,000 over. I didn't even put it on the market.
I've been playing around with the markets, investing. I've had some great runs, but I did call the 08 one, and I did tell friends 6 months. I said, keep an eye on this. I said they handed out too many loans that people make for $10 an hour jobs, and they popped it, and they're doing the same thing now. This is worse though, because right now the inflation is so bad. I think people, and they're blaming Trump. No, it's because we printed so much money. We can't sustain this much longer. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah. So I went real quick. Economics for dummies, and I include myself in that, right? So the U.S. dollar, when we is a world power, right? As a superpower, we have two things, two levers that we have. We have our military stick and we have our financial stick, right? We have those two levers, right? And then what populates and makes it stronger, the military stick is finance, right? The financials and all that shit. So then we have our financial stick. And a perfect example is we're hitting Iran with what? Military. What is Trump pivoting now? He should have blew the fuck out of him 4 months ago. He's pivoting to financial. If we go off the U.S. dollar, we will no longer have a financial stick to use for negotiations with other countries to try to keep us out of wars and stuff. And they actually did keep us out of a lot of wars, right? When we punished them with the U.S. dollar. When we lose that, that's gone. We're screwed.
Yeah.
And this is screwed. You guys gotta understand. If all these other countries go off the U.S. dollar, we're fucked. And
they are, Terry. They're already. Most of them are pulling away from it. And the other thing is some of the economic people that are under what's his name, Xi down in China. They said, and this is again as we all talk about different situations we're in. They're in this for the long game, and they've been doing this for about 15 years, and they knew that a lot of different people in Congress, different things, they can manipulate certain things and buy people off here. So they're in it for the long game. And China's always said, we don't really need to shoot a bullet over there. We can just play with your currency. And that's what's happened. It's a worldwide thing.
Yep, that's what's happening. And so I want to thank you guys for joining in. You'll definitely be back and help.
Thank you, Terry.
I appreciate it. And just a closing statement for me personally, if I have any process servers that happen to be Puerto Rican women that they were told by the police not to show up here, and I'm scared for my family, you will be maced and stomped on.
Most of the processors servers don't want anything to do with us.
And I'm going to film it and I'm going to put it on social media. The Puerto Rican process server that came here and scared my daughter watching my 87-year-old mom when I was in Florida. If you show up, you're going to be fucking maced in the face. And then I'm going to stomp on you when you fall down and roll on the grass to get the mace out of your eye.
And then everybody that supports you, we're going to destroy your life for the next 3 weeks.
So thank you, everybody. If you guys have any closing statements, otherwise we'll have you back on again.
No, thanks for having us on. I got a lot of information I could share in the future
Terry.
with you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. The Unsafe Space. Unsafe.
That's right. All right, guys, thank you for joining us tonight. Please like, share, and subscribe. Help us to grow so we can bring more people the news the mainstream media doesn't want you to